Bit of an update for you lovely people. I get asked lots of questions on different parts of what I'm doing, so I thought I'd show you a bit of what I'm doing with my honey labeling. So I bottled a load of honey up because I was short of one type. I was short of summer in 500 and 250 gram jars, which are down there. But I've been bottling it all up to try and do a bit of a catch up while I've been off with this blasted thing, which is actually healing really, really well. Let's put the camera here for a moment. See, my hand is healing really well, but so what I've done is I've used the time a little bit more wisely to try and catch up on a bit of admin. I've had to order a load of queens. However, I am going to do a final cell builder this afternoon because I've got a few colonies that are queenless, and if I give them a 3-day-old cell, they may still draw that cell up, and it will give me a few if I find colonies that are queenless in a week or two when I introduce a queen, or in the ones I have introduced. It might not work, but we still have some drones around. Unbelievably, where we are in Brittany, we probably have a fairly low amount of Asian hornets around. Now, I don't know whether it's because I've been trapping. I don't know whether it's because other beekeepers around here spring trapped. I'm not going to get into the "oh, you didn't spring trap" debate, but from what I'm seeing on the internet, there's a lot of beekeepers suddenly starting to moan that there's loads of Asian hornets around. Now, this is because, for several reasons. One, because the nests are now secondary nests and they're starting to grow in numbers, obviously. The other reason is because before now, or about now, there was plenty of other insects around which Asian hornets would predate on. But because those insects are now coming to the end of their prolific life cycle, there are not so many of them, like the aphids are drying up, there's not so many flies around, blah, 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 and the wasps are around as well, preying on those other insects, there's less food for the Asian hornets. So what happens, the Asian hornets turn to the areas that aren't giving so much. They're less economical to exploit, but they will still turn up. So suddenly your bees are becoming more favorable in their selection menu. It takes quite a lot of energy for Asian hornets to actually catch a bee. If you watch them, common hornets is even more uneconomical, and only if you've got a common hornet's nest really close by will you have common hornets predating your hives, because they're just not very good at catching bees. Asian hornets are just a little bit more efficient. The other thing I wanted to talk about is I'm seeing all this, oh, we've got starvation in the UK. The National Bee Service, I think, has released a starvation warning. Yes, of course, let's take heed of that. But don't forget, you don't want to block up your hives with thick syrup this time of year. You want to feed them a maintenance feed that's going to encourage brood production. Because we're now getting into towards September when your bees are going to start to make winter bees. Not yet though. So if you go and give loads and loads of syrup, say you've got 3 or 4 hives and you're really worried and you want to start hosing in the syrup, just hang back a bit. Check the colonies, check there's food in the frames. If there's not, get that brood nest filled up, but don't overfill it. Just make sure you've got, when I say fill up the brood nest, I mean, and I'm just going to reiterate that, check there's food in the arc around. Check the queen still has room to lay. You do not want to block that brood nest up just yet. It's too early for that. Well, you know, and it's a double-edged sword, because if you block up the brood nest, you won't get brood and enough bees to last the winter. But if you do produce bees now and for the next 6 weeks, and then feed in 6 or 8 weeks, you'll have the bees to take the syrup down, and you'll have lots of bees that will overwinter. So you kind of see my thinking, how it works. That's how I've kind of changed my ethos. I always used to give thick syrup all the time because I thought, well, surely the thicker you give it, the better it is, the quicker they take it on board. Yes, of course, but at certain times of the year, not right now. So we're going to be going off to the apiary this afternoon. I'm going to stop this for now. What I do is I basically put my labels on, I put my date on afterwards on each one. So I do a batch at a time. When I sell my honey, I do 35 in a tray. So that's 7 by 5. And then that is then ready to go. with my new labels, which are selling pretty well. I'm quite pleased. Barcode, made in France, all the legislative crap you have to have on it. We have to have this reuse sign, which is probably a good thing, the weight, the batch number, and the consume de préférence avant. So that means use the honey with preference. So we put 2 years on ours. And as you know, honey can be kept hundreds of years if it's stored correctly, you know, thousands of years. But there you go. That's what we're dealing with. So let's go up to the nuke yard. We're going to make the last cell builder with these lovely pollen frames that I saved. No wax mold. I brought them home. I brought them in the honey house because there's some old drone there. There was just one corner, so I thought we'll sacrifice that. But these are rammed full of pollen. So these frames, they're really heavy as well. These are going to go, excuse me, these are going to go either side of my graft, and they will give loads of pollen. And I put 2 hives together. So we're going to use the 2 hives together to make a big hopelessly queenless colony with one of them that is existingly a double brood. So, and it's queen and there's no larvae in it. So I'll show you about that in a minute. Let's go up there and get that sorted out. So we're back up at the nuke yard. I'm going to use these gloves. These are the imitation goatskin gloves because, you know, I injured my hand. The problem is these rubber gloves I use that are technically like rubber gloves, even though I think they're actually quite good, they are a bit cumbersome, where these are a little bit lighter. The story behind these is I never actually bought them with the intention I'd use them, but I kept them because they sent them to me in a consignment of other stuff, feeders, trays, frames, all that. And I just didn't have the time to return them. And they said, oh, they were on special offer. I don't think they could shift them. So I thought, well, I'll keep them. You never know when I might need them. So here we are today with these. I can now move my hand quite flexibly with that. The trouble is it's the lifting that pulls the stitches in the middle you've got to be careful of. So we'll have to work around that. And if that works well, I'm pulling honey this week as well then. I'm back to that. But I'm not having the stitches out for another 5 days yet, which is about normal. But in the meantime, I'll use these gloves and see if they help keep everything fine and dandy. So let's go and make up this cell builder. That's one. So this is the cell builder we're going to reinvigorate. There's a nice beast in the trap. Look at that. So we are now the 20th odd of August. I never would usually graft this late, but we've got reasonable weather. It's warm. Our seasons are getting later and later. So what I'm going to do is, this is my old cell builder here. And that was the one that I raised my cells in. And that was the bottom section I moved away. So at the moment we've got currently got a queen in the bottom there. And this is basically a super in the top. Next to it, I've got another colony that I pushed together a few days ago. That's got a super on. And it's got a really strong queen in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to make one big cell builder with the bees that are there now out of those 2 colonies. So I'm going to use that top box. That comes off, goes to one side. Then I'm going to go in there, take the bottom box off and take that, put that to one side temporarily, put that spare base back down onto its place and shake bees in from the bottom section back into the top section. So that's that colony done. So this will once again become the hopelessly queenless cell builder because there's no cells in there, no queen in there. This hive next door, I will take the super off and put that down for the moment. I will then find the queen in there while I'm shaking bees from this one into there as well. Then I'll take both of these queens away with their boxes to somewhere else. And they'll stay like that forever. And then I'll feed them and I'll give them resources because I'm not going to reassemble these again. I'll leave the queen cells in the new cell builder I've made. And when I finish with the cell builder in a couple of weeks, I will either split it into nukes or I will split it into 2 or even 1 and leave 1 cell. But you'll see what I'm going to do as I do it. Hopefully it'll become clear as we do that. This is where the magic's going to happen. On this base here, I've moved the existing colony with the queen right away first, and the other one that was just the frames above will become the cell builder. So let's put this cell builder back on there. And as usual, the base is stuck. Yep. Right, this is now the colony that was. So this is hopelessly queenless already. And I don't even need to check in here for queen cells because there's been no queen laying in here. But I will need to give this a bit more room in there. But all I'm going to do now is play shaky shaky with my shaker box. Because we're going to take bees from that one, and we're going to take bees from this one, and top this one up. So both of them will become hopelessly queenless. Well, both of them will give bees to become a hopelessly queenless colony, and the existing queens I'll take away to another part of the apiary or anywhere for now. They can go any place. They could go another apiary. So I'm not going to use them afterwards. And that's my point. Let's start shaking bees. Ram full. I'd rather find the queen first if I can. There's our queen, not marked. So I'm just going to grab my cage and cage her for now. She might have been superseded, the queen. So we found her, that's the most important thing. In you go. Is she in? There she is. So we found her, but there still could be another queen, don't forget. Because that's why you have a shaker box. This colony is now done with. The queen needs to be marked. I will take this away, or I will just leave it over there at the end. Put all the doors back on it. Everything will be good. This frame can go back in. This will be fed as well. This is light on stores, because this had the super above it, don't forget. So let's take this one away. I'll just put her under the lid there for now, and I'll sort that out afterwards. But let's get this cell builder made first. And hopefully you'll get an idea of what I'm doing. So in here we have extra bees added in the top, but they don't know anywhere else. So let's do add some more bees from the old section. There's the queen. There she is, last year's queen, an absolute belter of a queen, this one. Tenuta Ritiro, really good queen rearers in Italy. And that's where my breeder queens come from this year, to raise more queens like that next year. Beautiful. So I know where she is. She's going to go back to the back of the colony, and I can shake more bees from the front quickly, knowing that she is back in the box and safe. So that is now full of bees. We're just checking here that there's no sign of any extra queens. That's what we're doing here. Remember, we know the two other queens aren't here now, but was it the only queens? No, it wasn't. And even if these bees fly up, it doesn't matter. Just drones, which is great. Some nice big fat drones still in the corner there, look. So that's good to see. So we might get some of these queens mated, who knows. Remember, raising queens is relatively easy once you know what you're doing. It's just getting them mated that's the problem. And the clock is ticking now. And the Asian hornets are looking towards eating those juicy, fat drones. Look at them. So there you go. That's the cell builder ready. We're going to get a graft in this evening or tonight or tomorrow morning, whichever I can do. And then we will be raising queens again in the end of August. So probably the last graft of 2025. Make sure it's a good one. know if you can see that with the sun blaring in there. On the way up to my nuke yard is like, see the houses way in the distance there, on about there. That's where my nuke yard is, and this is about 4 fields in a row that are all just been sown with rapeseed for next year. So it's going to be absolutely massive, the amount of rapeseed there, and I'm looking forward to it. Bring it on. That's just been sown today. Rain forecast for this week. Should be a good germination on that. There you go, next year's crop. This is what you want for a cell builder. Just come back now, first time, look at this. Completely restless bees, overflowing with bees, flying around the apiary. They're lost, they don't know what they're doing. And now we're going to put the grass in and you'll see them change their behaviour completely. And that's just brilliant. Tons of pollen, and we're going to put a feeder on top. And I've also put a frame of foundation in next to the grafts, or the other side of the grafts, so that they will build comb but further over. But there's other space in the colony already, which is great. So I think maybe some of the bees might be finding their way back a bit to there. But I think those 2 colonies over there, they're the 2 colonies that fed this one. And I think there's going to be no problem. They're all here and they're all flying back from there to here. So that's good. So let's get the grafts out and get them in. So I kept the grafts in the front of the truck because there's obviously a cushion in there and they bounce better. They're not getting jolted around so much. But this is all I do. I do tend to put them in a rag. Let's get them in the grafting bowl, which I nearly forgot. Glad I didn't. But we'll just come up to 8 o'clock now. And we are Saturday, I think the 24th of August, remember rightly. But anyway, that's besides the by, as we say. Let's get this graft in, and all being well, some of the bars are a little bit tight on some of the, there you go, that's gone in there. Okay, that's in. If we get 20 or 30 cells at the end of it, or I've also done this because I wanted to have some 3-day-old cells. So if I find a colony that's rejected a queen for no reason and I can't find a virgin, and they're trying to build their own cells, I'll kill their cell and put this one in, and then they'll try and hopefully draw up this cell. So just going to put my gloves on, and we'll get that back into the builder. Those bees will calm down pretty quick. I said I don't usually wear these gloves. They're actually quite comfortable, and I've got 4 pairs of them. So you never know, might actually end up liking these, and I'll just spread disease throughout all my colonies because you can't wash these properly. There you go, that's my reason not. Let's get these in. It's going to put the frame onto the side first. Look at the bees flying around, completely lost. So put that there for now. It's a bit of a mess, it's just stuff stacked up, and it is what it is at the end of the season. There's shit everywhere, it doesn't matter. You know, we've still got nice weather, which is good. Give these guys a bit of a smoke. Smoke is just about going. They're not really aggressive though, they're just queenless. So let's try and open this one-handedly, as I always do. There'll be a whack of bees under the roof here, which is always good. Look at that. That's what you call a cell builder. So we'll put that here. There's my 2 big pollen frames. Let's see what they do when I put these queens in. These queens to be, I should say. So here we go. Sometimes you get a big reaction, sometimes you don't. Let's just move these over. There's the frame of foundation I put in that they're going to draw up, and we'll see what that's like tomorrow. When I think you'll find tomorrow they'll be very quickly doing different things with that foundation. So let's put this board back on. just try and smoke some of these bees off out of the way, but I don't think it's going to be very possible. Because first of all, my smoker isn't working that well. I'll just have to slide this on without dropping a ton of bees everywhere. Like that. Here we go. Right, that's on. Feeder on. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill up the feeder over here before there's the feeder, so I will feed it up there. I can feed it up neatly. I just don't want to fill up a feeder and get a load of bees and syrup in the syrup. We can open this. That's all we need. Perfect. I haven't put any pollen sub on top yet, but I perhaps should do. Get out. That'll just have to do. If I leave this any longer, it will just be full of bees. I have the thymol mix from Hive Alive in my syrup, and the problem is it does attract everything straight away because they can smell it, and it's like straight away. Woohoo! We're on it. Yeah, baby! There you go. Cell builder, in and done. What more could you want? Hopefully that'll be a good result when I come back tomorrow. We shall see. Job done. Last one of the year, I think. See how they look tomorrow. Bye for now.